This video is for those H2B workers who are currently in the States and are looking for more information or looking to find a job for their extension. In this video, I'm briefly going to be mentioning what exactly the H2B extension is, who can apply for the extension, how to apply for the H2B extension, how long your extension can be extended for, and how can you stay in the US after your extension, or is that possible? So if this is something that you're interested in, you can stay ahead. Hi, my name is Sarah Crott and I currently worked as the H2B myself for 3 years. I just finished my program in October just gone, so I worked at 6 different clubs. Now what I do is I help provide information on the H2B visa from first-hand experience, helping you with your process, and in this video mainly focusing on what exactly is a H2B extension. So you're currently working in a club at the moment and they've hired you for a certain amount of time. So most likely you are working for an 8-month contract, and that contract will end in around April or May. If you check your visa stamp in your passport, you will see a date that is written, and that is the date of the end of when you can legally stay in the States on your H2B. However, it definitely is possible to stay longer than this date. What you will just have to do is apply for another job or an extension. There's 2 different ways to acquire an extension. So the first one being you could try and get an extension in your club. So if your club that you're currently in at the moment has a high demand, even still after their high season that ends in May, that they still do need staff, they could petition and apply for employees to stay on longer, and they could actually extend the visa of their own employees. However, this is a little bit more difficult, seeing as most of the clubs that you will be working in have a high season and you are currently already working for them for that high season, so it can be a little bit more difficult for them to prove the need to keep their employees on any longer, as the reason why they were able to hire you in the first place was because they already did try and make an effort to hire willing and able American workers to perform the job for them, and the reason why they had to hire H2B staff was because they could not already find enough willing and able American workers to work for them for their high season. And to employ you on the H2B visa, they did have to submit a lot of paperwork to prove that they did need staff from overseas for temporary high season periods. So it can be a little bit more difficult to do it that way, but it is possible if your club does have that high demand. The second way to acquire your H2B extension would be applying for a new job. And most likely you've been working in Florida in a club, so it has been their high season because it's been their winter season. That is when they have most full capacity of members in their clubs. However, there are a lot of clubs in other states that are more popular in the summertime, so in the months between April, May, all the way through back to October. So for them months, there are a lot of clubs who are looking for staff because it is now their high season. Their membership is at a lot fuller capacity, and they do have that demand for more staff. And they have also tried already to hire willing and able American staff to perform their jobs, but they have not been able to fill all their positions, so now they need to try and hire in an alternative way. So they're looking now to hire you as H2B staff to fill their position. Who can apply for a H2B extension? So if you are already in the US and you are working as a H2B visa worker already in a company or a club, you are able to apply for an extension. You would also want to be able and willing to stay for the duration of your next job. So for example, if your job needs you from May until October, you will need to be available for them dates. So if you do have plans that you need to be at home for or back to your own country throughout them dates, it's best not to take the job. However, if you are free and available for them dates, then you can go ahead and apply for your extension. Now that you know what the H2B extension is and who can apply, the next step is how actually can you apply for the extension. So the first step for this would be finding an employer. So if it is a case that your own employer is able to keep you on and extend your visa in their club, they can extend you to stay with them for up to 1 year if they can prove that high demand that they do need you and can't hire American staff for the rest of the season. That is a possibility. The other possibility that is a lot easier for people, and most people do go ahead and do, is to find another employer. So looking for them jobs that are needing more staff for their summer season, who are already recruiting H2B staff and have the needs to be able to hire you. So for example, it would not make too much sense if you just applied to a lot of random jobs. You would want to apply for someone who is specifically hiring H2B staff, as they know that they have the requirements that will be able to actually hire you, so you won't be wasting their time and they won't be wasting your time. There are a couple of ways to find an employer. You can look through directly into clubs to see if they are hiring H2B staff. You can search online, you can search on job search sites such as Indeed or Coolworks. Also, I will leave below some links in the description box to clubs that I know are currently hiring at the moment, so you can check that out. As well, on my H2B Facebook group chat, I do post a lot of job offers and information about the H2B visa. So if you are interested in finding that extension, now is the time to apply. Now is the time where interviews are starting and employers are interviewing potential employees. So if that is an interest of yours, I will leave the link also to my Facebook group that you can go and check out any of the job offers that are in there. I would say as well, make sure that you do read it carefully, because all the information is on the posts that I do post, including the employer, their email, etc. So just read everything carefully, read the requirements before you do it. So after you have applied for an extension with a new employer, you've done your interview and they have accepted to hire you, what they are going to actually have to do is they are going to have to submit some paperwork to a certification officer, and they're going to have to wait to hear back from them. Once they hear back and hear that your application has been accepted for consideration, they will receive a notice from that officer. So once they do have that information, then they can share with you. So it can be a little bit confusing with knowing when your application has been accepted, and it could be a bit nerve-wracking if you are really looking to stay in the country and to extend your job. But just to be a little patient with that and notice that your employer will notify you as soon as they do have the information. They will send it on to you. So this may not be your first extension, you may have already been on a couple before, or if this is your extension, a question that a lot of people have is, how long can I stay on the H2B visa, or how long can I extend my H2B visa for? So if you are staying in one job and that employer has filed to extend you for a longer period of time, the maximum period that one employer can actually extend you for is up to 1 year. After that, they would have to reapply again. But however, after that, for example, if you stayed for that one max year, you can actually stay for another 2 years after that. So a total of 3 years. You just would have to be on another petition. So for example, find another employer who is willing to sponsor you for your next extension. So in most cases, people will spend about 7 to 8 months in their winter season, and they will spend maybe 4 to 5 in their summer season. That is how it mostly goes, and you can do up to 6 seasons in that case, which would bring you up to 3 years. Or perhaps you may find an employer that is willing to extend your visa up until 1 year. In that case, you would do 3 separate visa extensions then. And lastly, to finish up on the video, the last question would be, how long can you stay in the US for after your H2B visa has expired? So, after your H2B visa has expired, first of all, to know when your H2B visa is expired, you would want to look in your passport, and you will see that an officer wrote the exact date of the end of your visa. If you do not have access to that, you can also search for your I-94 form. You can actually check this out online. And and you will get that exact date. So once you would have to leave the country by that date. If you do choose to stay in the country after that date, then you basically aren't staying legally. And if you do choose to stay illegally past 180 days, you denied entry to come into the States for up to 3 years. If you do choose to stay in the States 1 year illegally after your visa, you can then be banned from the States for up to 10 years. So it's something that I wouldn't really recommend doing at all. However, there is something called a maximum grace period. So this is, you are given 60 days maximum grace period. This is between your jobs. So if you do have an extension, you are permitted to stay up to 60 days between your extensions when your job or from one job to another. So other than that, you would have to leave at the date that your end of your visa does stay. Some people who have come to the States are excited to travel and to see a couple of different states. So if that is something that you are looking to do while you're working, I would recommend that you do fit it in with your work. So you take a couple of days off here and there and manage to travel to a couple of places. However, just noting that you are hired as a temporary seasonal staff, so it will be quite difficult to take a long period of time off as you were hired, because the company that you're working for really did need staff for that high season. So if you are looking to travel, just notice that you will probably only be able to take a couple of days off to do so. So if it is something that you are looking to mostly more so travel in the US rather than work, I would recommend that you look into a couple of different visas. For example, a tourist visa, which can last up to 90 days. I'm actually on that visa myself here at the moment. So you can stay in the States for up to 90 days and then you would have to return home, and you can always come back. So if it was something that you did just want to come and travel and experience a couple of places, I would recommend coming on that visa rather than a worker's visa. If you are on the H2B extension and wanting to stay here and work, then it's a perfect visa for you. But if you are maybe finished your first extension and you're wanting to travel rather than work, I would recommend that you maybe look into a couple of different potential visas that might be better for you in that case. But anyway, I hope that this information was helpful for you and you do have a little bit more clarity now on the H2B visa extension, what exactly it is and how to go about the process. If you do have any more questions, do feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or you can head over to my Facebook group chat, which I will leave all the links below in the description box. So thank you all for watching, and I wish you all the best of luck, whether that is you finishing your job or you going forward to extend onto another one. Bye.